Welcome to rSlash, Am I the Butthole? Where OP tells his brother that his wife likes to play with his butthole. Am I the butthole for embarrassing my brother in front of the whole family? I'm a 36-year-old guy, and I'm married to a wonderful woman who's 34. When we first got married 8 years ago, I was making about $36,000 a year, and she was making $230,000 a year. Fast forward a year, and we welcomed a sweet baby girl. After my wife's maternity leave ended, I took a vacation to stay with my baby. Well, I found out that being a dad and taking care of the house is 1,000 times better than working in a stressful office. My wife and I discussed it, and I became a full-time stay-at-home dad. I like being a stay-at-home dad. I enjoy keeping the house clean, cooking, and taking care of our kids. We have a 7-year-old girl, a 4-year-old boy, and now a 1-year-old boy. I also like being involved in the mom groups and Little League. The only person who seems to have a problem with this is my older brother, who's 44. I don't know how, but despite being raised by parents who are very much champions of equal rights, he grew up to be the embodiment of the man provides and guides, the woman makes home and follows. Which is why he's been divorced 2 times and has terrible relationships with his kids. For the past 7 years, my brother has been making jokes about me, trying to imply that I'm less of a man because my wife earns money while I play the wife. I either ignore him or I just shake my head at him. Well, my wife and I were drunk one time, and we came up with a bit of a naughty solution. He gives major vibes of being a prude, and is casually homophobic, to be honest. So when he made a joke last Sunday along the lines of, "If you were married to a man, you would 100% be the bottom," I hit him back with, "Funny you say that. I am a bottom. My wife really knows how to use a dildo and harness to make a man see the stars." He turned so red, and everyone kind of let out a shocked laugh, and he finally shut up. After a while, he said that he didn't want to hear about what I do with my wife in our bedroom. I said that if he keeps his comments to himself, I would have no reason to share. But today, Mom called me to say that he refuses to attend Sunday dinner if I'm there unless I apologize. I refused, and now Mom feels bad about it. So, am I the butthole? Oh, Pete, your brother's a doofus, man. Oh, well, I bet your wife pegs you. She does peg me, and it's great. Excuse me? I don't want to hear about your wife pegging you. Who's talking about your wife pegging you? Shut up, please. I can't handle this. Also, I gotta read this comment from Mama Chunk. Mom needs to get him to apologize if she wants to butt in. He opened the back door. You just walked through it. Yeah, I agree, OP. You get 0 out of 5 buttholes. He had this coming. Your brother gets 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for returning home after I found out that my husband booked first class for him and his friend while I got economy? My husband and I are in our 30s, and I haven't been on a trip out of the country for years. Meanwhile, my husband goes every year with his best friend. My husband's reason for going with his friend is that they both go to attend sporting events. This year, my husband told me I could go with him and his friend since they were visiting a new destination. He paid for my ticket and everything else since I'm a stay-at-home mom and have no job. We left our kids with my mom. However, when I found out that my husband had booked first class for himself and his friend while I got economy, I just couldn't hold my tongue. I confronted him about it, and at first he refused to discuss it. Then, when the argument got heated, he yelled, "I paid for the ticket for F's sake. Isn't that enough?" Then he kept going on about how I should stop acting like I was royalty, and that if I came to think about it, even economy is fine for me since technically I don't work anyways. I cried because of what he said, and I decided to just not go altogether. He changed his tone and started begging me to just go with what he had planned, but I declined. I went to pick the kids up from my mom's house, and he came back 3 hours later huffing and puffing about what had happened. His friend sent me a text message calling me entitled and said this was the reason why he didn't want my husband to take me with them, and I just proved his point. I didn't respond. I just blocked him since he's gotten increasingly rude over the past few months. My husband said that I keep crying about being excluded, and this is what happens when he finally decides to include me. Am I the butthole for not settling for economy? By the way, he is perfectly capable of financing the trip. Okay, this is like a really toxic mentality that your husband has. It's like, yeah, okay, he is making the money, but that doesn't mean that it's his money to do with as he pleases. It's both of your money because you're married and this is the relationship you have. He makes the money, you raise the kids. Okay, so let's apply this guy's logic. Let's suppose he's trying to say that he makes the money, therefore he gets to say how that money is spent. By that logic, since you're the stay-at-home mom raising the kids, then you get to decide if he does and doesn't spend time with his kids, right? Right? That's logical. He comes home, he's excited to see his kids, he wants to play with them. No, sweetie, I'm sorry, but I'm the stay-at-home mom. You need to stop acting like royalty. I get to decide when the kids play with you. You don't get to decide because you're not the stay-at-home mom. You see what I mean? It's just toxic and controlling. And he's literally putting himself before you. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Your husband gets 2.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for throwing my siblings in foster care so I can have a better life? I have roughly too many siblings and even more step-siblings. Between my parents and my latest stepfather, we have 8 kids living here. Myself, a 19-year-old girl, 3 half-siblings on my mom's side, 15, 11, and 9, and 4 step-siblings, 14, 12, 9, and 6, as well as 1 full-blooded sister who's 6. Things have never been particularly good or stable, but now we're at rock bottom. My mother and stepfather are going to be going away for a long time, and everyone's in a rush to get all these kids into homes. I'm the only sibling who's over 18, so everyone wants me to do it, but I don't want to. I'd gotten an opportunity. My grandmother on my father's side offered to have me and my full-blooded sister move in with her, and she even offered to pay me to go to college. The thing is, she lives several states away. I talked to social services about this, and I got the answer that I could move with my 6-year-old sister without a problem because our parents were able to voluntarily give me guardianship of her and I'm her full sister. My other siblings I could only take in if I stayed in the state because they would become part of the foster care system. I'm sorry, but being forced to stay here would destroy my future. I could definitely survive, but I would be stuck in this horrible place working paycheck to paycheck. I could never have a real life. I made the obvious choice. The social workers were nice enough to arrange it so that me and my 6-year-old sister weren't picked up in front of the other kids, but obviously they knew what was happening. My 4 siblings with phones have been texting and calling me non-stop. Some of them are asking for help, and some of them are just screaming at me for abandoning them. I know the system is going to be really bad for them because of where they are and their ages, but I just can't do it. I can't blow this. This is my and my 6-year-old sister's first chance at a real life, and I feel like I owe it to both of us to take it. Am I in the wrong here? My siblings and my mom think that I am, and my grandma thinks that I should have done something, but can't say what. And she wouldn't let my siblings live in her house, even if it could happen. The only person who doesn't think worse of me is my 6-year-old sister, who says that she likes the quiet, but obviously she doesn't know the full story. Alright, this is just really messed up across the board. Fundamentally, your siblings aren't your responsibility. They're your parents' responsibility. So they should be mad at your parents, not at you. You're a 19-year-old girl with no solid income, no real support structure. What are you supposed to do? Raise 7 kids by yourself? What I want to know is, what's going on with your parents? You said they're going away for a long time. Does that mean they're leaving the state? Leaving the country? Are they going to prison? I don't care what their reason is. There is 0 justification for them abandoning 7 of their kids and expecting their 19-year-old daughter to raise all of them. You were put into an impossible situation, OP, and you did what was best for you and your younger sister, which is understandable. I can't really blame you for this. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm also giving your siblings 0 out of 5 buttholes because even though they shouldn't yell at you, they're kids, they're caught up in this crazy situation, and I can't really blame them for getting upset about this because who wouldn't be upset in this situation? However, they should really point their ire at their parents, not you. Without understanding the full story of what's going on with your parents, I'm giving both of your parents 4.5 out of 5 buttholes. Where are they? What are they doing? It has to be jail, right? Oh man, I went down to the comments and OP clarified that both of her parents are going to prison for 5 years. Am I the butthole for telling my date that he shouldn't call himself a Harvard alumnus? So I'm a 25-year-old woman, and I matched with a guy who had Harvard alum in his bio. There aren't too many of those in my small Midwestern city, so I suggested that we grab some coffee. The date started off wonderfully. We had many shared interests and spent a good 30 minutes talking about them. I started talking about my amazing undergrad experience at Harvard and asked him what he concentrated in. He gave me a blank stare. After a moment, he said, "Oh, I finished the web dev certificate from the extension program." After some Googling, I discovered that anyone can get that certificate by paying a $6,000 fee and taking 3 online courses. I then asked him, "Why are you calling yourself a Harvard alumnus?" When people hear Bobby went to Harvard, they assume that Bobby has an actual degree from Harvard, not some certificate that holds no real weight. Anyway, my date got up and left, but not before he said, "This is why most people can't stand people like you." I've gone over our conversation multiple times in my head, yet I can't see where I said anything wrong. Okay, so obviously the guy is lying on his profile. Well, not really lying. He's being deceptive, right? So yeah, he deserves some butthole points for that. I'm going to give him like 1.5 out of 5 buttholes for telling a tiny white lie on his dating profile. Kinda sucks, but not a big deal. But OP, am I correct in understanding that you were on a date with this guy and you literally fact-checked him right in front of him so you could call him out on his lie? Did I get that right? You're like sitting there drinking coffee and you're like, you think you're Harvard alum? Well, excuse me, but according to Google, you're actually full of it. If you think that doesn't qualify him as Harvard alum, and that's like a deal breaker for you, then okay, fine. But to fact check him right in front of his face and then call his degree worthless is super disrespectful. Like, how is his certificate worthless? That's really belittling, and in my opinion, it's more disrespectful than what he did. I'm giving you 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for telling my wife that she needs to find another job? I'm a 26-year-old guy, and I've been married to my 24-year-old wife for 4 years. During those 4 years, she's had the same job, which requires her to be away Friday to Sunday. So she leaves early on Friday and returns about 4 to 5 p.m. on Sunday. Occasionally, she would leave on Saturday and return Sunday. She also has to work during certain public holidays. I work full-time and get just a bit above minimum wage in tips, so our bills are split 60% her to 40% me. While I find myself struggling with money and having to borrow from the joint bank account, my wife never had this problem. I know that she's getting paid more than I do because she works for a high-profile client, but I'm not sure how much more she makes than I do. She also won't tell me exactly what she does. All I know is that it's connected to her degree, and it's 100% not sex work or anything in that industry. The reason why she won't tell me is because she signed an NDA, so she's not allowed to go into details. She does chores around the house but doesn't cook. She admits herself that she's a bad cook and hates it. Instead, she would either order those pre-made healthy meals that you heat up for yourself or get takeaway. When I'm home and she hasn't ordered, she'll order for me too. So during most of the days when I'm working, she's either at our house chilling, shopping, or in the gym. Over the years, I got annoyed with this, and I've asked her to find another job so she has something to do while I'm working instead of wasting her day. She told me that she's not wasting her day, she's just relaxing, and her job pays her well, so she can afford the lifestyle that she wants. I said that it's not fair to me because I come home tired while she's done nothing all day. To that, she said that I could find a different job, but I'm a butthole for wanting her to find another job because I feel tired when coming back from my work, when she has a job that she loves. After that, she stopped talking to me. I've spoken to my family, and while my parents agree with me that she needs to work, my sisters took my wife's side and called me a massive butthole. OP, what? Your wife does work. She has a job. She makes more money than you. Did you forget that? And yeah, she has a better job than you, so I can understand feeling a certain amount of envy. But the correct, healthy response to that is to want to lift yourself up to her level, not drag her down to your level. How does that make any sense? Since you're miserable, you want your wife to be extra miserable too? OP, you should work on getting yourself a new job and a new attitude while you're at it. I'm giving you 2 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your wife 0 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for ruining my sister's vacation? I'm 22 years old. My sister is 26 and has 2 kids, a 2-month-old and a 2-year-old. I always thought that she shouldn't have gotten a second child because she can barely take care of her first one. And most of the time, she asks other people to take care of them because she can't do it alone. Our mom goes over to help her a lot. Definitely a lot more now that the baby's born. Now for the vacation part. I booked a vacation to the beach a year ago, and it was quite expensive. But this is something that I really wanted, so I saved up for it. I asked our mom if she wanted to go with me. She said yes, so I booked the vacation and paid for 2 people. A month before we left for the vacation, my mom said my sister was also coming because her boyfriend was away that same week on a bike vacation. They didn't really ask me, they just announced it. Afterwards, I went to my mom and said my concerns about how I was afraid that I would have no time for myself and I would have to babysit all the time. We're now 4 days into the vacation and everything that I feared came true. I have to constantly keep the 2-year-old busy while my mom and sister are on their phones or taking care of the baby. Even when I go somewhere else to be alone for a second, like just to lay down on my bed or something, he follows me and keeps asking to play. I love my nephew, but it gets too much for me. The only way they leave me alone is when I'm sleeping, so I've been taking a lot of naps. As a result, I haven't been able to do any of the activities that I wanted to do. Today, my sister told me that I'm ruining her vacation because I make a long face all the time. I was so annoyed. I told her, "What do you mean I'm ruining your vacation? I paid for it. This is my vacation." She began yelling and said that just because I paid for everything, that doesn't mean that I can sit here and ruin this vacation for her. I said, "You invited yourself. I didn't ask you to be here." I reminded her that they promised that I wouldn't have to babysit. She began yelling even louder and said that I haven't touched the baby while we were here. But even then, that was a lie. I've given him a bottle a few times, and I held him while he slept and cried plenty of times. I asked her, "Who do you think's been keeping the 2-year-old busy?" She got more angry and said, "Isn't it normal for you to want to play with your 2-year-old as his aunt?" Our mom was looking at me as if I had kicked the children. Because how could I complain about playing with my own nephew? They stormed out and yelled that there was really something wrong with me and I should think about what I said. I've been crying nonstop and I have no clue what to do anymore. They don't talk to me and I'm stuck here with them until Friday. Am I the butthole? This is a classic guilt trip, OP. They're trying to guilt you into giving them free babysitting so they can have a better vacation. A better vacation that you paid for. Nah, man, your sister's awful. Your mother's pretty awful as well by backing up your sister's behavior. OP, I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your sister 3 out of 5 buttholes, and I'm giving your mom 2 out of 5 buttholes. That was r/AmITheButthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.